Hidden below a dark fog of war, or we can just call it the empty black void of nothingness that kind of hides content before it's implemented, is the Kingdom of Varlamore. What exactly is Varlamore, and why is it a growing topic? To confidently talk about Varlamore, it's best for us to start on the landmass as a whole, and that's the continent of Zeah. Zeah is a members-only continent found west of the mainland, which is comprised of the Kingdom of Great Kurend, the Kebos Lowlands, and the Kingdom of Varlamore, though as you may have guessed, only the first two are accessible to us. The Kingdom of Great Kurend is what we are most familiar with, having spent most of our time earning favour for the 5 houses of the land, that is Archaeus, Hasidius, Lovacane, Piscarilius, and Shazian. Considered one of the largest kingdoms within Gielinor, the size of it is comparable to Kandarin. Despite it being called a kingdom, it was, until very recently, a republic, being ruled by a council made up by a representative from each respective house. Though as of the quest, a kingdom divided, a monarchy is once again in place. And FYI, this will be important later. Next is the Kebos Lowlands, which is a region located west of Great Kurend, consisting of a rocky mountain called Mount Quidamortham to the south and a volcano called Mount Carulam to the north. Between these two mountains is a large and fertile land, with a swamp being separated by the river Mulch. You can also find the entrance to Chambers of Zerek and Mount Quidamortham, and these two areas, that's Kebos and Kurend, are very rich in lore and history, but the topic of this video isn't focused on these two. No, the topic that we're mainly discussing today is a kingdom that's kept prying eyes away for a very long time. So much so that they worship their own gods, Varlamore, otherwise known as the Shining Kingdom. Varlamore was formed by refugees fleeing from Great Kurend during the Age of Strife roughly 1030 years ago. This was a period of, well, strife. The Mage Zerek ruled only a few days after the death of King Shazian VII, and lasted for around 100 years in Kurend's timeline. Zerek had used the Dark Altar and an army of lizardmen to consolidate his position and exert dominance, and he ruled with an iron fist, thus forcing people to flee Great Kurend. Though eventually Kurend would revolt and regain power for the people, those that had left had done so by fleeing south and never looking back. Varlamore became a prosperous kingdom. They avoided war for nearly 1,000 years, and through that peace became one of the most prosperous kingdoms in Gielinor, though that didn't last. Emperor Imafore ruled like his predecessors and led the kingdom through peaceful and prosperous times, for a little while at least. To celebrate his 30th birthday, he hosted a great feast, boasting about how it would be remembered for years to come, inviting people from across Varlamore to join him, but also an invitation was sent to the royal family of Kurend. Upon arrival in Varlamore, the royal family were treated with the utmost respect, given a tour of the entire kingdom, seeing the sights and everything Varlamore had to offer, and they were left impressed. Imafore even personally led them to the city's capital, letting them spend the night there before the feast. The day of the feast came and it was more lavish than you can imagine. No fewer than 50 different dishes to choose from, with entertainment provided by some of the finest performers from a college of bards. Towards the end of the feast is when the speeches began. Various rulers and officials from across the kingdom stood up and thanked the emperor. Towards the end is when the emperor stood up and an event that changed history would occur. Calling for his servants to top up the glasses of wine in the room, he requested the royal family be given something extra special, the finest Aladrin Red, a fresh barrel opened just for them. Once the glasses were full, he toasted to the royal family of Kurend, and then, as the faces of various attendees turned, some in horror, others in delight, the entire royal family collapsed in front of the emperor. The emperor, who stood there, looked on with a smile on his face. No one truly knows why Imafore killed them, as it's a secret he took to his grave, and he met a cold grave during the war that followed the murder. This war ended sometime around the reign of King Kurds III, who, in hopes of repairing the relationship with Varlamore, which had been destroyed after the war, sent an envoy to Varlamore carrying the Royal Accord of Twill, an important document in Kurend's history, and he wanted that to be displayed in the Grand Museum of their capital, although the Accord was lost at sea until recently. Today, it's safe to say that the betrayal of Emperor Imafore remains fresh in the minds of Kurend's people, and trust is not regained by any means. Though as we learn from A Kingdom Divided, the current ruler, Queen Zeah, seems eager to ease tensions between the two kingdoms. Varlamore can't currently be visited, as previously mentioned, though I'll touch on the future of the kingdom in the next chapter. Currently there are 4 known areas of Varlamore. Avium Savannah, which is a large plain that is known to have the Colossal Worm as an inhabitant, as well as a group of Imkando dwarves living underground. Civitas Illifortis, or the Mighty City in Latin, is the capital of Varlamore, where it's alluded to that the city is inspired by Roman architecture. Other features include sea fishing trawlers, charters, and access routes across the land space to various towns and cities. The city is said to be flanked by a gleaming snow-capped mountain, and also contains a port, with the Grand Museum being located here, where the armour of the Cloud Titan is displayed. Initially, the city was supposed to be added to Zeah in the 3rd phase of release for the continent, which would feature a coliseum that would have been akin to the duel arena, with the combat area being said to be as big as 6 dueling arena sections combined. Supposedly, the victorious combatants would win the entrance fees of all spectators. Proudspire is another area within Varlamore, which the implication of the name is that rather than being a city, it's a tall mountain, as the royal family are noted to have seen the peak of it, although this is all the information we have right now. Finally, we have Tempestus, which is a city that's been consistently described as the floating city. It's known for its College of Bards, where Hamel the Jester obtained a poem that referenced sleep. At some point there was a Cloud Titan, which got bested by an adventurer from Hosidius. There are supposedly ruins of an ancient race called the Old Ones scattered around Varlamore, who are believed to have inhabited the kingdom and bits of the Kebos lowlands before their extinction, though it's believed they began to experiment with soul transference to overcome this. While this method appeared successful and they devised a method to transfer souls into a new body, an attempt to do so for themselves at a ritual site southwest of Mount Quidamorthum resulted in the creation of the Strangler, a parasite presumably a result of their attempts. This area would later become known as the Stranglewood. Little is known about the culture of Varlamore, but we do know that they don't worship any of the typical Gilnorian gods. I mean, the people of Karen did flee the mainland due to the God Wars after all. Instead, they worship Ralos, who is the god of the sun, and brother to Ranul, the god of the moon. Allegedly, the followers follow a positive outlook on life, with the tenets including the need for being bold and honest, living a life to their fullest and striving to work against those who bring negativity. There's 2 notable individuals who we can look at for this religion, Brother Amiri and the Knight of Varlamore. Brother Amiri is a travelling monk found in the Spider's Den in Forthos dungeon, next to Sarachnis' lair. He travelled to Forthos wanting to uncover its secrets, believing that Ralos originated from there. The Knight of Varlamore, real name Astra, is located on the 1st floor of Curran Castle, and is obviously an Easter egg from Dark Souls of Solera Vastora. All that we know is he's on a mission, but he refuses to elaborate any further. Currently within the game, that's all we know about Varlamore, but something tells me that we're going to be hearing a bit more about it soon enough. Varlamore has been mentioned plenty of times, especially in the planning of Curran's release and the polling, and though it looks like the Steam train has slowed down a bit, it certainly hasn't stopped. As of the release of Desert Treasure 2, data miners have managed to find this map within the game files. Not only that, but if you go into the game and look at where they added the Stranglewood, you can see parts of a new landmass. So Varlamore is 100% in development, and I'm very excited to see what they do with it. Earlier in the video, you may have seen fan maps of Varlamore, and they were just fan art, but who knows. Jagex certainly could have took inspiration, and it's clear that they're planning something, with the foundations being laid now for a bigger update on polling in the future. There's even a chance of sailing being used given the entire kingdom is bordered by a sea. Given how the last quest into the current storyline ended with the assassination of a new king and the appearance of Varlamore's queen, it's very likely that with the release of Varlamore we'll be took on a quest to investigate the kingdom and see if we can dig anything up about them, but also explore a new continent. Maybe it was a disgruntled current citizen who killed the king, or a vengeful assassin from Varlamore who wanted revenge for the previous destruction of the kingdom. Who knows? All we can do is speculate for the time being, but I'm excited to see what Jagex come out with for this. It'll be a great addition to an already great game. Though I can't say much more now, I'll make sure to make a video if there's any major updates or if we get any more lore. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, please do like and subscribe. It'd go a long way in helping the channel. I'm always open to suggestions, so if you guys want any specific lore or anything, just let me know. But for now, thanks for watching, and see you next time.